In this tutorial, we'll walk through how to use the therapist-patient mapping feature as a super admin so you can assign and update therapists and assistants for each patient across different therapy types. First, log into the system using your super admin credentials. On the login screen, enter your email, password, and agency code, then click Sign In. Once you're logged in, confirm that you're on the administrator profile so you have access to therapist-patient mapping. Next, we'll open the mapping tool. On the left-hand side menu, locate the Therapist section. Click Therapist, then select Therapist-Patient Mapping. This opens the screen where you can choose a patient and manage all of their therapist assignments. At the top of the mapping screen, start by selecting a patient from the dropdown. Once you select the patient, you'll see their basic information displayed, such as name, ID, and key details, so you can confirm you're working with the correct record scroll down to the Therapist Assignment section. Here you'll see the different therapy categories for this patient, such as physical therapist and physical therapist assistant, occupational therapist and occupational therapist assistant, and speech therapist and speech therapist assistant. For each therapy type, you can see whether a therapist or assistant is already assigned. For example, the patient may have a speech therapist assistant assigned, while other assistant roles are not yet filled. Now we'll update the assignments. Under Physical Therapist, select the therapist, for example, James Lee. Then, under Physical Therapist Assistant Details, choose the assistant, for example, John Lee. For Occupational Therapist, you might select Anthony Lee, and under Occupational Therapist Assistant Details, choose Jennifer Perez. If a therapist or assistant is already assigned, you can change the assignment by selecting a different name from the dropdown. Make sure each therapy type and its assistant fields reflect the correct care team for this patient. After you've set or updated all the therapist assignments, click Save. The system updates the patient's record with the new mapping. When you go back to the patient profile, you'll see these therapist and assistant details reflected and up to date in the therapist-patient mapping section. That's how to use therapist-patient mapping as a super admin. Log in, navigate to the therapist section, select a patient, review their current assignments, update therapists and assistants for each therapy type, and save your changes so the patient profile stays current.